Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to the Smash Factor Week 40 on the 2022-2023 PGA Tour, the final regular season week for the tour, and then we get 3 weeks of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Changed format this year, 70, then 50, and then the final 30. All 30 that make it to the final that don't already have a win also get to go to the Tournament of Champions now. That kind of all came about in the last year or two. But fun week ahead. We get a little more guys playing that maybe wouldn't have if they didn't want to try to improve their standings. You really want to get inside the top 50. We know about the elevated events and all that. If it stays like it was this year, I'm sure there'll be some tweaks. We'll hear about it. Still waiting to hear exactly how the fall swing will go. From my understanding, there will be events, but none of the events in the fall swing will count towards the FedEx standings. Those all will still start in January. As that was one of the issues with some of the players. A lot of the players, hey, we show up in January and we're already way behind, or guys can do well in the fall swing only, and it makes it you have to play some fall swing because you get behind, and you know there was no real break, as people that cover content can say. It really did almost go year round. I'll see how that looks and what I plan on doing as it relates to golf once we get confirmation of how they're going to do it. I don't think we know for sure. As far as the next 3 weeks, for sure next week we'll have a normal week. Missed last week, kind of balancing crazy end of the month for me personally, plus family vacation tied into that. So did cover all the content for the premium members, but just wasn't able to do the podcast. Next week will be a normal week for the most part. I think we'll even do an E9 because we'll have 70, which is still better than, it's not the 125, but last kind of full field there. I don't know if they're actually doing a cut or not with the 70. My guess would be no. When I mean cut, like in the actual event, I don't know if it's a 4-day no cut or not. Last year, obviously, 125 guys, they still had a cut for the weekend. So need to look that up, but we'll probably normal coverage, normal content. And then we'll see the last 2 weeks. Obviously 50-man will be a no cut event. Only so much you can dissect, and then the 30-man will be like, I'm sure, the staggered start and the weird salaries and all that. Premium content and stuff like that will still be on the site. I just don't know about pods and all that. Trying to take a little bit of break, last couple of weeks of summer with the kids and all that before we gear up and full-fledged into football as well. And working on back-end stuff for all that. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. This week will be just normal. This will come out. This will be out Tuesday at lunch or so. It's it's Tuesday morning, so a little late or early afternoon probably is when I plan on putting it out. Start out, big shout-out to Todd, our man. He's been one of the OG members. He may have been here almost since day one. Takes down the Fantasy Golf World Championship. 1,080,000, I think, was the total. Basically, I think it's $1 million plus he gets a ticket into the Tournament of Champions deal like they do for all the sports. It's normally around the Super Bowl, so he gets to go there. His second millie, he took down the 2022 PGA Championship here at Southern Hills for $1 million. I finished sixth that year in that one. That was the Mito meltdown. Kind of cost me at the end, but glad to see him win. That's always awesome. If you'd like to join the site, links in the description. Always includes a 7-day risk-free trial. We got college football about to roll out. I'll put our college football coverage and Slack up against anybody. NFL, we'll have some updates and add-ons to that coming shortly. And then golf will be, right now we'll plan on cover just like normal. We'll just see what it looks like in the fall. Does it make sense? What kind of events are they going to do? How are they going to host them? We'll see all that as it comes. But, we'll cover normal, especially once we roll around into January when we start the season again. This week, again, Wyndham Championship at Sedgeville Country Club, Donald Ross Design, par 70, 71, 7,200, 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s. Both par 5s are gettable by most. less than driver for most holes. Being in the right position off the tees, is really the key. Attacking the greens, good wedge play, good iron play. Bermuda grass greens, avoiding 3 putts is kind of a big deal from my prior notes. Went to this event several years ago. It's when I first met HV3. I think 2019 was the year, maybe 2018. Nice course, nice area. It actually doesn't look as hot as it can be. Like, it's 104 outside right now for us, and going to stay that way through Sunday. Really kind of looks low 80s, mid 80s. So a little cooler than what it could be there. Can get really, really hot. Some PM showers Thursday and scattered showers Friday. Something to keep an eye on. Winds don't look too crazy, but we'll keep an eye on that, especially round 1 stuff it could favor. Round 2 stuff it could favor. So when we look at showdown, but main slate, there's just not enough there for me to dive into it yet. That'll be something we'll do tomorrow afternoon into evening for final thoughts and all that. That can all change, right? These are summer shower storms, stuff like that. Doesn't look like any deluge or anything like that, so I don't see it as a huge deal. But we could have an impact by the time we get to this time tomorrow. Or 36 hours from now, and we're trying to finalize things. Cut, I got it -2, -3, somewhere in that area. Winner, probably minus 18, 19, somewhere like that. Last year, Kim won at 20. Some other prior winners, Kisner, Herman, Poston, Snedeker twice, Davis Love 3 times, Stinson, P. Reed, Garcia, Webb. So you can kind of see the guys, that have all won here, and that winning scores pretty much stayed. There's a couple years it's 14, 15 under, but 18, 18, 17, 17, 21, 22, 21, 22, 21, 20. So somewhere in the high teens range. You're going to have to score here to be in contention by the time it comes to Sunday for sure. Stats for me: good drives, stroke gain approach, opportunities inside 18 feet, birdie or better, par 4 DK scoring, and good approach, as well as course history. This is one I bump a little bit on course history, course fit, recent form, and then overall Bermuda putting as well. Salary ranges this week: 4 in the 10K, 6 in the 9K, 11 in the 8K, 43 in the 7K, and 87 in the 6K. So kind of back to that traditional pricing we've seen most of the year, outside of, what was it, a couple weeks ago we actually got up into the 12K, the Open, actually. So interested to see if they bring that back next year. I don't know how they felt the trial went. I didn't hate it. I do wish they would just keep it one way or the other, so you can kind of get used to seeing how things would go with that different build. I also get the point of sometimes if you're not stacked like that, it'd be interesting to kind of see maybe they bring it back for, the top 50 at 2 weeks from now or something like that. Sweet 16, same format for me. 3 that I like and a bubble boy. Fade of the week, sleeper of the week, gut feel plays, some betting, top 5 that pop, and 2 long shots provided by Underdog and Prize Picks. Now we'll talk a little bit about one and done. You kind of know where you are there right now. And then we'll wrap it up. We'll get out of here. Won't keep you too long. All right, let me get over here to this. All right, 9K and above. I like Siwoo, 9,000 flat. In between a miscut and a withdrawal, I do have it starred so I can go see why he withdrew last year, but a 5th, a 3rd, and a 2nd. So some pretty solid history here. Any kind of comp courses you hear about, he's probably going to look well as well there. Be sure to go check out Kenny Kim's full course breakdown on the site if you'd like to. Missed a cut at the Open, didn't play last week. He's top 9, overall for me. 13th in course fit, 8th in recent form, 10th in stats, 12th in good drives, 15th in approach. A lot there that I like. He's a little more volatile than maybe some around him, but as long as he's not too chalky this week, I certainly don't mind going there at 9K. He may be, but right now I think it'll be spread out up here quite a bit with a couple spots. We'll get to one in a second that may be that way. I like Sung Jae as 2nd place right here, mainly because this is kind of that course history versus recent form. Let a lot of people down again last week with the miscut at Scottish, 20th at the Open. But here he's played well, 6th, 9th, 2nd, 24th. At this course particularly, I'm going to ride that a little bit. And he's 10-8. So being the highest price, I wonder how many people just say, I'll take my chances. He hadn't looked sharp all the time. Something to that extent. But I really like him a lot this week. I hope he does kind of get brushed away and people go, I'll just go to Henley, $600 cheaper. Maybe Burns in there. Maybe I start in the 9K, stuff like that. I really like Sanjay a lot this week. Aberg, I'm going to stay on that train, 9,300. Maybe he doesn't get as talked up this week. You think long off the tee, stuff like that. But, his approaches are pretty solid. 10th in good approach, 24th in par 4 DK scoring, 11th in birdie or better. He's a hit or miss guy, but at this level in his career, I take my chances there, especially because I think he will stay around that 10%, 11, 12% range ownership. I don't see him getting, steamed up too much this week. My bubble boy is Henley. I like Henley. Everybody is. I just wonder how much steam is he going to get. Missed the cut, then 31st, 9th, 7th, 5th. So he's gotten better every time he's been here since 2019. Missed cut at the Open. No big deal there. John Deere, he's 35th. He's just a guy I generally would tend to be on the light side if he's going to be super chalky. There's some other chalk I don't mind eating this week. So he'd be a guy I like. We'll see how the ownership's looking tomorrow night. But that's why he's the bubble boy. 8K range, Cam Davis. I'll kick it off there. I feel like he's a pretty good price in this kind of tournament. 10th last week. He's played here twice, but hasn't played since 2020. A 22nd and a 15th. He's a guy that's probably right on the edge of that FedEx stuff. I don't bring that in or look at it a whole lot. It just is what it is. They got to play good. I mean, they can't miraculously show up and start playing good out of nowhere, but I just like him in general. Definitely showdown stuff, but I got him 15th overall. He's about where he probably should be. But I wouldn't blink an eye if he was 91, 9,200 in this field either. 8th in birdie or better, 22nd par 4 DK scoring, 28th in good approach. We know he's not as boom bust risk reward as he used to be. He's gotten a lot more consistent, but he still, he can give you a sweat every once in a while. But coming off good finish last week at 10th, I like him. Jaeger's a guy I like, 8,900. 13th here last year. Before that, a miscut and a 70th. He's coming in 13th at John Deere, 30th last week. He can get hot. We know that. We can get one round where he goes really low. Then can he grind out, get you a top 20? He did it last year. He's coming in pretty good form. I don't mind going back to him. Taylor Moore, a guy probably be off most radars. He just had his peak. He's just kind of been there. Missed a few cuts, but a 5th here last year. I think his game suits this extremely well. 1st in course fit, 5th in putting, 39th in recent form, 31st in recent form, 8,000 flat. I really don't mind that because I think we're going to get relatively low ownership as well. So I don't mind putting him in the pool. My bubble boy is Smalley. Actually played him here last year, and I played him a lot, but a 13th, I was reviewing stuff. That's what stuck out to me. I think he was in the 6,000s last year, but 13th last year, 29th the year before, obviously from this area. 2nd at the John Deere. Probably could have won that if I think it was Straka that went off that week. It really comes down to putting for him, but he knows this course well. So I like him. Bubble Boy's only ownership this week. That's really, does he get really, really chalky? And if he does, do I play him and then I fade some of the Henley and all that? I'm just going to eliminate some chalk, not necessarily all of it, but I don't mind him at that price tag. 7K range, Doug Gim actually rates out number 1 for me overall. Really, really good on the stats. It really will come down to the putting. He's missed his last 3 cuts here, or his last 3 starts here in a row, but he had a 20th in 2018. He's coming in pretty good form. 29th or 26th at John Deere Classic, 27th at 3M Open. If he can putt, he's going to make some charges. 7,200 feels like a good price. 17th in good approach, 4th in par 4 DK, 6th, 7th, 19th, and 30th in the other 4. So top 30 or better in all. Really solid. And he's mid-pack on Bermuda, so I don't hate that. Hoping enough people see miscut the last 3 years here. Maybe they avoid him. I do think overall he's playing better than what he has been at this point in time in his career, so I'll take some Gim at 7,200. Vincent Norman, been playing him virtually almost every week. Made a little splash last week, especially pre-cut. Didn't do much on the weekend, finished 50th. Stat-wise, he looks solid. 6th in good approach, 9th in par 4 DK, 12th in birdie or better, 17th in approach, 6th in good drives. All things I like. Can he get the putter going? With the price tag being 7,800, can I get a top 20 out of him and him be that 5th guy in my lineup? Sure. So I definitely like him. Ekro, wow. That was the one bomb I avoided last week. Now, he was in my final thoughts write-up as like a next up type play. I did not see the massive love for him. And I mean, I like Ekro a lot playing, but that surprised me some, especially in like the Fantasy Golf World Championship. I think he was 40 or 50% or something. I like him mainly because of that. He burned a lot of people last week. He doesn't look flashy anywhere, but 34th overall for me, 37th here 2 years ago. So he's seen the course, 15th in par 4 DK scoring. Not something I love, but if he's going to kind of, everybody's off of him this week, 7,100. Most of the time, we've kind of got rid of that, right? In this industry, everybody, that bounce back, that he missed a cut, I'm off of him, kind of went away. But I can see it in this spot where people go, nah, I'm going to pass. Maybe I go there, 7,100, a lower owned bounce back week for him. We'll see how it shakes out. Eric Cole, race out really well, really just comes down to ownership for him. I don't think he gets a ton, just like average, I would assume. Has never played here. Upside can be questioned at time. Can he really, is he better for a Honda Open? Obviously, we see him almost win it versus 19, 20 under. Maybe, but he's been playing well in many different type of formats. 9th in opportunities, 12th in birdie or better, 3rd in par 4 DK scoring, 19th in good approach. All things I like. Would have liked to see him play this course once or twice, but outside of that, I don't mind at all. If I get fair ownership, $7,700, I don't mind Eric Cole this week. 6K range, Peter Quest, go back to him this week. Made the cut last week for us. Only finished 50th, but he does have that upside. He's 2nd in good approach, 3rd in birdie or better, 13th in par 4 DK scoring. I like all that. I think his game could suit well this week. I'll go back to him at 6,800. Trevor Cohn, a guy that's been popping up. Do you trust the data? Do you trust the models? All that kind of stuff. He's got the upside. Can he put it all together? Made the cut last week. He was kind of like, didn't do much with it. He just hung around on the weekend. But at 6,500, I do think he has the upside. 1st in good approach, 6th in birdie or par 4 DK scoring, 9th in good drives, 14th in birdie or better. Again, I wish he had seen the course or played it as a pro. But 6,500, I don't mind that at all if I'm trying to fill some lineups or an MME pool. Callan Tarrant, a guy I like in the showdown quite a bit because he always seems to have that one round every week. But he's also a guy, if he makes the cut, he's got upside. Last week, coming off a few missed cuts, makes the cut last week, 13th. I think he can bring that momentum here. He finished 27th last year here. I don't mind tearing this week for 6,900. My bubble boy is Dylan Wu, simply because coming in off the 5th last week, could get some steam, $6,900. I don't mind him. I really don't see anybody in the 6K range getting more than 5-6%. But if there was a reason for me to get off of him, is if he starts flirting with that 9-10% type range. I don't see that personally this week. Fade of the week for me is Burns. I'm not going to pay $10,000 for him. Did play here 3 years ago during the COVID year. Got a 13th, 19th at Scottish, missed code at the Open. He's just not hitting his irons very well. He's 130th in this field in par 4 DK scoring, 146 in opportunity inside 18 feet. I know he can get it going, especially on Bermuda, and he's got a good record here. I could see it at 10K, though. There's plenty of other options I want to get to. Sleeper of the week, I'm going to go Chesson Hadley. I don't think he'll get 5%, but has continuously improved here. Made the last 5 out of 6 cuts, 5 in a row. He finished 15th and 8th the last 2 years. A 27th last week. 7K flat. I think he's going to be that 5% or less owned. I don't mind going there, kind of off the radar this week. Gut feel plays for me. Adam Scott, I don't mind. I'm interested to kind of see. I haven't listened to much yet this week to see if there's any community love for him or not, or are we out on him? Can he score 19, 20 under? At that price, he needs to be probably top 5 in scoring, top 10 upside. Top 10 with the upside of the DK scoring. Mixed results here. He had a 2nd 2 years ago and a 76th last year, but made the cut both times. He's one that's probably playing to try to get, climb that FedEx before they get into it, the tournament last week. So I don't mind him. Kevin Yu, a guy I go to fairly regular, 7K flat as well. Don't mind going back there. He's got a 6th at John Deere, 37th last week. He did miss a cut at the Scottish. Brandon Wu, I think I'm just staying on him because when he goes off, I'm going to be mad. But even last week, made the cut, didn't do much with it. But last year here, 8th. He's got the upside if he can get it all together. 25th in recent form, 8th in the opportunities inside, 18 feet, 31st in par 4, 13th in birdie or better. I like all that at 7,200. And then Pendrith, a little bit down the board as far as rankings for me, but a 13th there last year. He's just a guy that I don't mind, more of just leaning on, okay, maybe he's going to club down a lot more. That may help him. That's maybe what helped him last year. Can he get the irons going? Again, that's a gut feel play, to a T for me. Betting, I like Gim 80-1, Smalley 40-1, Siwoo 25-1, Taylor Moore 40-1, Cam Davis 40-1, two long shots. Callan Taryn won 25-1. Dylan Wu won 25-1. That's brought to you by Price Picks and Underdogs. I will have my nightly Price Picks out each night, each round 1, 2, 3, 4 for the community. Underdog, their big best ball, everybody's big best ball push is going right now. They have, I think, 15 million in their big pot there. They have the FedEx Cup. I can't remember. I think they call it the Pup Cup or something like that. But really fun last year. It'll be for all 3 rounds of the FedEx. So it'll lock next week. Draft your teams. I'll be in there doing several of them. Had some good runs last year. A little bit trickier because you could lose a guy, who's it's a little bit easier, I think, theoretically than last year. Because last year it was 125 to 70 to 30. So you had a big chunk, get cut off right off the bat. Here, 70 to 30 by the time you get to the 3 weeks. But there's some strategy there. It's fun. If you're drafting now, especially you got guys that are on that, I think Cam Davis is right around, that high 60s, low 70s type number. They may not even make it to it. There is some risk reward there if you're willing to take it. It's fun. I think it's $5 to $7 or something like that per lineup. If you want to go in there, check that out as well. Slack, we talk about it quite a bit. One and done. I mean, I think you kind of know where you are. Obviously like Sung Jae, if you got those guys left, I would do that. I wouldn't mind, like, if you're kind of middle and you're just trying to, depending on when yours actually ends, like a Steven Yeager, a Taylor Moore, Vincent Norman, even Gim, those high upside but could miss the cut just as easily. If you're kind of back there and you're looking to make a big jump this week, those guys are fine this week. I mean, this is a field that has seen a lot of 100+1 winners that you could go take a chance on. I'm pretty far back. I got one, I think, that's in the money, but just inside the min cash. Do you want to take your min cash and move on, or do you want to try to jump? With a few weeks left, that's something you can do. If you have personal questions there at your situation, hit me up in Slack or on Twitter, and I'll give you my thoughts there as well. No E9 tomorrow night. We will be back. I think next week we'll do a final one with Kenny. I think him and I agreed to that. Kind of the last big field, FedEx Cup, kickoff, all that. Some strategy there will be fun. But I'll have all the premium content out per usual. Final thoughts, all that, final rankings, ownership, and everything out tomorrow night. Again, if you'd like to jump into the site and check it out for a week, we're already starting to talk about preseason football. Bobby, and I think Bobby has some thoughts in there already. We may add to that. College football, he's already written an article too as well. I think Ryan may help out Bobby on some preseason stuff. There's action to be made there. I do well in betting at times there. Preseason football's fun to just dip your toes in waiting for the regular season. But for DraftKings, it's certainly some decent pots at times. And if you know what you're doing and you're able to be around the computer and check things out, it certainly can be advantageous. But having access to our Slack can make you some money as well. Looking forward to the football season. It's always a good time. I will be back next week for sure. Hopefully by then we get a little more clear picture on the PGA. And, of course, I'll probably have updates on all our football content coming out in the fall. Looking forward to this week and some preseason football as well this weekend. I turn 40 next week, so that's exciting. We'll have a good week. We'll win some money. I'll talk to you soon.